It's May and it literally looks like June gloom outside. I have a hot coffee in my hands. That should not be allowed. Welcome back if you're new. My name is Kristen and you've reached my little corner of the internet. Today I'm coming at you. Hopefully I don't have foam on my mouth. This week I've got a little reading vlog that I'm going to film for today's video, and I'm filming this throughout an entire week, but I'm going to do a little reading vlog. So if you haven't seen my May TBR video, I played Bookish Bingo, and one of the prompts that I ended up pulling was reading the lowest rated book on Goodreads from my physical TBR. Now, I have that book and I plan on reading it this week, but also in my TBR, I pulled another book for another prompt, and it ended up being also kind of low on my Goodreads in terms of ratings. So I decided just to put them both in this vlog because I feel like reading two books is better than one in a reading vlog. So that's what we're doing this week, and I guess I can reveal the books to you if you didn't really look at the thumbnail. So the two books I have are Crazy Rich Asians by Kevin Kwan and Under Lock and Key by Lana Ferguson. I've never read anything by these two authors. I've seen Crazy Rich Asians, the movie, and obviously really enjoyed it and never read any of the books, and I own the entire trilogy. And I told myself, okay, if I don't read at least one book, the first book in that trilogy, that I'm never going to read it and I'm going to unhaul it. And so for my May TBR, I got a prompt for a book that is a movie adaptation. Ended up picking Crazy Rich Asians. So that is why this book made it into this video. It does have like a 3.9 on Goodreads, and Under Lock and Key, I believe, has a 3.6. So not super low, but those books were near the bottom of my Goodreads ratings on my physical TBR. The lowest rated book I have on my physical TBR is a Christmas book, so I obviously didn't pick that one because we are in May, even though outside it doesn't look like it. It is overcast and I feel like I haven't seen the sun in a week. I digress. So the book right above that Christmas book was Under Lock and Key at 3.6, and then a couple more books above that was the first book in the Crazy Rich Asians trilogy. So I decided to put them both in this video and see if they deserve the ratings that they actually have on Goodreads. I know some people are a little bit fussy with Goodreads, and that you shouldn't always rely on the star rating that is displayed for a book that you're looking at. There are some books that I've read that I completely disagree with the rating that it has, whether that's because the book was better than I thought or worse than I thought. So, that's the thing about reading. We all have our opinions, and as long as people are reading books, everyone should be happy. So this is just going to be a cute little reading vlog on the lowest rated books on my Goodreads. If you see me reading these on my Kindle this week, I did end up getting the library version from Libby on my Kindle. So I'm very thankful that the timing kind of worked out. I placed holds on them as soon as I pulled these when I filmed my May TBR video. So they became available a couple of days ago, and I've been dying to start reading these. And I also was able to borrow the audiobook for both of them as well. So in terms of which book I'm going to start first, I think I'm going to do Crazy Rich Asians first. One, because it's the book that's due sooner than Under Lock and Key, and I feel like this one would be a good one to start with, just because I kind of know the premise already, and I feel like it would be fun to kind of revisit this world and see how this is different than the movie. I'm very intrigued. So I do have a couple things to do around the house today. My room is an absolute mess. I'm staring at my makeup desk right now, and it does not look great. I have clothes that need to be put away, and my dresser back there is just not looking cute. So I think I'm gonna put in my headphones, start listening to Crazy Rich Asians, and just start from there, and I'll come back with some thoughts and see where I'm at. But yeah, grab your book, grab your cozy drink, or maybe a fun drink if it's actually warm where you are. First of all, I'm jealous. We'll start reading, or listening rather, I guess. So yeah, let's go. Hopefully I'm in frame. Hello. Okay, it is a couple hours later. It is 4:54. Oh my gosh, it's almost 5 o'clock. And I started reading about 3 hours ago. Or not really reading. I've been listening to the audiobook for the last couple of hours, and I have some thoughts. So like I said, I've been listening to the audiobook for the last almost about 3 hours. I was able to clean up my makeup desk, clean up everything that was on top of my dresser. There was stuff just collecting on there that just did not need to be there anymore. Cleaned up a good amount of my room. Again, pile of stuff that just did not need to be there. I was able to annotate my physical copy of Redeeming 6, which I finished last month. And I had a lot of annotations, clearly, from my Kindle. And then I started annotating Wild Eyes, which I finished yesterday. I had a lot of annotations on this one, too, from my Kindle. So I am just going back in and highlighting. I still have all that left to go. I kind of stopped because annotating 2 books back to back was just not the move, so I stopped. Onto the book, onto some thoughts on Crazy Rich Asians. I am officially finished with part 1. I didn't realize it was split into parts. I'm on page 163, technically chapter 1 of part 2. So it resets the chapter numbers in every part. And honestly, for 3 hours, I mean, I was listening to it, so I knew I would get through it a little bit slower than if I were to physically read it. I have it on 1.5 speed. I might bump it to 1.75, just depending on what I'm doing. Because I was moving around a lot, I had it a little bit slower. I do want to get a little bit more in tonight, hopefully halfway, but I am really enjoying it. I especially really like it with the audiobook because it feels more like a kind of like a cultural podcast, if that makes sense. With the audiobook, it sounds like I'm like listening to other people's conversations and kind of learning about their lives and their cultural background, and I find that really interesting. And I think I haven't read any of it. I've only been listening to it since I started the book, and I don't want to say I prefer listening to it, but right now I'm really enjoying how the audiobook is allowing for this more kind of laid back podcast type of vibe. I did write down a couple of notes. I do enjoyed. Yeah, that's just not correct. I do enjoy the very detailed and descriptive writing in this book. It allows for such an immersive kind of world building, yes, but not in like the way of a fantasy series. It's just like a very interesting type of immersive reading with the way that Kevin is writing in this book. It's very cool because I've seen the movie a dozen times. It's one of my favorite movies, actually. And it's kind of, I don't want to like compare it to the book, but obviously like there's a movie, like I'm going to be thinking about the movie while I'm reading the book. Reading some of the scenes that appear in the movie, it's so interesting to read about. It's just reading every single thing that's written down in that particular scene, because obviously we're only getting dialogue and like setup shots and whatnot. So it's kind of like reading the screenplay, and it's really cool to see the inner monologues of some of the characters, which brings me to my next point. I did not realize how many different point of views we were going to get in this book. I literally thought we were only going to get Nick and Rachel's point of view, since majority of the movie is from their point of view. And we do get Nick and Rachel's point of view, but we also get Nick's mom, Rachel's best friend that lives in Singapore. Obviously, we get Astrid's point of view, who's Nick's cousin, which she's like one of my favorite characters. And kind of similar to Lessons in Chemistry with the switching of point of views, I really do enjoy it in this book. It keeps kind of the plot moving and keeps the book kind of fast-paced. I was also reading some of the Fable reviews because, I mean, I've seen the movie. I kind of know how this book will turn out. So I was going through some of the reviews on Fable, and there were a good amount of people that talked about the culture representation in this book. Some of the reviewers were actually agreeing with how the culture is represented in this book and how kind of, I guess it's kind of accurate from the way that Kevin writes the book. So I've actually really enjoyed learning and reading about the culture that is in Singapore, not just only because they're rich, but also the traditional and more conservative values that they hold. And I was raised in a Latino household, so seeing some of those traditional, more conservative values kind of pop up, it's very interesting to read about in a different culture and different setting. But yeah, so far, I'm thoroughly enjoying it, and I mean, I still have a lot more to go. Yeah, I haven't been bored listening to it. I think it's very cool how interconnected the community in Singapore is in this book. It's really funny how like everyone knows everyone, and if like someone doesn't know someone, they're just like on the prowl to like figure out who someone is because they don't know their last name or something like that. So it's kind of funny to read about, and I'm really enjoying it. So I'm gonna keep going, but those are just some preliminary thoughts that I have at the moment. Yeah, I'm actually really glad that I picked this up because I'm enjoying it.
Hello. It's been a day. I guess just a little progress update on Crazy Rich Asians. I listened to it on my walk this morning. I've never listened to an audiobook on any of my walks before. I really haven't listened to an audiobook period since before this book, and I think I said this yesterday, I love the audiobook. I'm eating it up. It's making it so easy to read and understand a lot of what's happening in the book because, again, I think I said this yesterday, it's very, very descriptive heavy and very, very monologue heavy. So I officially made it to part 3 in this book, and there are 3 parts. So I'm officially on the last part, which puts me at page 331. And this book is 500 pages. Wow. Why is this book 500 pages? But yeah, I have been loving listening. That doesn't make sense. But yeah, not much has changed. Still love listening to it. I literally haven't read a single page. I've been just listening to it, and I think with this book I prefer it that way. Like I said yesterday, it kind of feels like I'm listening to a podcast. Yeah, hopefully I can finish this tonight, and then we can start under lock and key tomorrow. All right.
Okay, I hope this doesn't fall. My phone is literally leaning up against a painting right now, so don't mind me. Did I wear this sweatshirt yesterday? Maybe. But you know what? It's comfy, and it's the only sweatshirt that I have where like the hood stays like in its shape. It doesn't like flatten or anything. So I love this hoodie. Clearly I love Taylor Swift. No surprise to anybody. Anyway, it's Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, my dudes. Oh yeah, I finished Crazy Rich Asians today. I did not read a single page of it. I listened to it all the way through, and I'm obsessed. I absolutely loved it. I gave it 4. Let me actually go get the book. Hold on. I got it. I'm coming. Here it is. So I actually gave it 4 stars. Wow. Above the average rating that it has on Goodreads. And I believe also on Fable. It has a 3.9 as well, but you better work, Kevin Kwan. So I'm actually very intrigued to get into the rest of the trilogy. Who knew I would be here saying that? It ended differently than the movie does. It ends a little bit more open-ended, which I'm surprised because I feel like the movie, they said they're coming out with a second one. I don't know where it is, but that movie came out 7 years ago and we don't have a second one yet. But I feel like the movie did end on a more like, it doesn't need a second one type of ending where the book kind of ends like, okay, I could read the second one. Not sure where to or how to feel about that, but I feel enough to probably continue, and that's exciting for me. I'm very happy with this. I highly suggest listening to it over actually reading it, and I can't believe I'm saying that out loud because this is the first book I've fully listened to
completely on audio. Proud of myself for that, and proud of myself for getting through this, because this book is so detailed in literally everything, from the shade of bracelet that somebody is wearing. That is how detailed this book gets. And that is why I suggest listening to it, because I could see myself starting to skim paragraphs in this book if I were to physically read. I mean, like, come on, like, what the fudge? You're like, Kristen, it's a book, you're supposed to read it. But I liked listening to it, so highly suggest listening to it if you can get your hands on the audio. The narrator does such a beautiful job pronouncing everything and narrating everything, and it's very clear to understand where the story is going. And overall, 4 stars, very much appreciate that. Next, I have the audiobook for Under Lock and Key, so I'm going to start that today. I have a few more little chores to do. It is 3:15. I'm so great at starting these clips so early in the day. I'm just so good at it. So, and the sun's finally out today. I did have an iced coffee today. I didn't film it, but I did, and I'm very happy. So I'm gonna start listening to Under Lock and Key. I'm excited to get into this. It's a very different kind of read for me. It's a romance with some like fantastical elements. I believe like the main guy can turn into the Loch Ness Monster or something. I don't really know. Don't quote me on that. I know nothing about this book. All I know is that it came in my Afterlight subscription box. So speaking of Afterlight subscription box, oh my god. So I got the Afterlight exclusive of A Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. I don't know if I am going to keep this or give it away or resell it. I have no idea, but it's like they do their hardbacks really weird. They make them the same size as paperbacks, and it makes me slightly uncomfortable. So because when I want a hardback, I want the big hardback and not these tiny ones. So but I got that in the mail today, so that's super exciting. But gonna start Under Lock and Key now. I have like a major task that is on my like goals for the month on my whiteboard that I don't really want to do. I feel like listening to a book and doing it will kind of help motivate me. Knocking out 2 birds with 1 stone. Yeah. So let's get to listening. I've been editing this vlog for like the last hour. Has not been fun. I don't even know why. I have all of next week to edit this vlog, so I should not have done that. Anyway, enough yapping. Let's get to listening, not reading, listening. Here we go. I fear I may be entering my audiobook era. Yeah. It's Friday. I did not vlog at all yesterday. Whoops. I think the last clip of me I took on Wednesday, and I was saying I finished Crazy Rich Asians on Wednesday and then started Under Lock and Key on Wednesday, and I finished Under Lock and Key today, earlier this morning. Actually, I listened to majority of it on my walk this morning and wrapped it up while I was making breakfast. I have some thoughts. So like I said, I gave Crazy Rich Asians a 4 star, and for Under Lock and Key, I gave it a 3.5. Not a bad rating by any means. It was a good book. I enjoyed the story, and I listened to 100% of it. I didn't read a single page in this either, which is why I said I may be entering my audiobook era. Can you blame a girl? So if I know Lana Ferguson has a lot of books out. I believe The Fake Mate is one of her more popular ones, but this is the first book I read by her, and I can see why people loved and maybe didn't thoroughly enjoy this book. So with Under Lock and Key, the main girl is named Kiana, and she goes to Scotland after her dad passes away, because he is originally from Scotland, and goes to meet her grandparents. And of course, who lives on the farm but a hot man? And his name is Lachlan. And there's some enemies to lovers going on in here. I said there's some fantastical elements. I didn't realize it was a monster or like paranormal romance technically. And I actually found it quite fun to read. Was not expecting some of the
Sorry, my camera just wiggled because I'm kicking the cord on my mic. I could predict almost everything that happened in this book. Not a bad thing, but it was kind of fun to, listen to it while on my walk this morning and be like, yep, saw that coming. Still fun nonetheless. I really liked Lana's writing in here. It's not telling writing, it's very much showing and some lyrical descriptions, if you will, and I really enjoyed that aspect of it. I didn't really buy the romance between our main characters at first. Towards the end of the book, I started to kind of feel their chemistry a little bit more, but throughout the book, it was kind of hard to believe the chemistry that was happening between the two of them. It kind of felt oddly forced for some reason. I don't know if anyone else felt that way while reading this, but still an enjoyable read nonetheless. Very different from what I typically do read. I don't read a lot of paranormal romances. I've only read does The Dead Romantics count by Ashley Poston? I don't know if it does, but I've read that and I really enjoyed it, so I could see myself kind of dabbling more into this subgenre. But yeah, 3.5. It has a 3.6 on Goodreads, like I said, so kind of in that same vicinity of everyone else on Goodreads. I feel like, yeah, just something different for me to pick up, and I'm not mad about it. I enjoyed listening to it a lot. I feel like with this kind of book, I kind of preferred it, especially because it's narrated by a female and a male, and the male has a Scottish accent, which really puts you into the story. So, and the female narrator did a fabulous job too. So I really enjoyed it. So I'd say overall consensus of this vlog, kind of a success. I am not mad with the way these two books kind of panned out this week. I'm glad I finally picked them up because I feel like the low ratings are kind of what put me off of picking up books sometimes, and that's almost as bad as judging a book by its cover. So there are some hidden gems you can find, I believe, even if it does have low ratings. You never know if you might be the outlier that enjoys it. So yeah, I'm not mad about this week. I kind of liked this it's kind of like a science experiment, testing out low rated books on my TBR, but I'm just glad I didn't absolutely hate them. So but that is all I have for you today. Let me know down in the comments what your lowest rated book on your physical TBR is, or just on your Goodreads want to read list in general. I would love to know. Make sure to give this video a like if you haven't already. The links to my Goodreads and my Fable are down below if you want to friend request me on there or follow me on Fable. I'm always accepting friend requests and following back on Fable if you want to go see what I'm reading in real time. My Instagram and TikTok are linked down below. Go and give those a follow as well if you want to see more beauty content on my TikTok and more some like personal behind the scenes type things on my Instagram. Definitely go give a little look-see down there, but that sounded wrong. And subscribe, that's the biggest one. I would love for you to come back to future videos and see your beautiful face again, so make sure to hit that subscribe button because, it's a fun time in my corner of the internet and you should subscribe. And that is, so sorry I touched you. And that is all from me for this video today, and I hope to see you in my next video. All right, bye!